Welcome to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff, DiVeronica, and Steve Bradley, our 20th year talking Section 5 sports here on, second year on YouTube. Before that, we were on the radio for a long time. But happy to be joined in on our specialties Skype hotline by Greece Athena boys basketball. Joining us now, Coach Mike Setzer in his 7th season as head coach. Prior to that, he was a longtime assistant for Coach Jim Johnson. Also, a couple junior captains on this team, Osier Reaves and Osier. I think I looked a quick look at the roster. Steve Bradley, it looked like everybody on the team was 6 foot or taller. I think looked like a very tall team. But Steve, they're 3-1 as we record this. Next game will be Friday against Pittsford Sutherland. Strong start, not surprising for Greece Athena, right, Steve?
No, and Jeff, it's funny because probably I've paid attention to Athena basketball for 30 years, going back to the John Wallace era, and I think they're almost like the Yankees, right? With Section 5 basketball is good when Greece Athena is good. And they've been good for a long time and a lot of years. So it's really fun to have them off to a good start. And I think they're going to be pretty exciting to watch this season.
Coach Setzer, you beat Schrader 64-59. A tough loss against a good Aquinas team, 60-52. Took care of Greece Odyssey. And then a shorthanded men team, 60-51. Khorie with a big night. You were down that game at halftime, but we'll talk a little bit more about some other guys on your team too. But what do you like about this squad and your chances moving forward to maybe getting back to at least a sectional final and beyond?
Yeah, there's a lot to like about this squad. You see 2 reasons right there. Khorie Reaves is an absolute problem, for the opposition. There's really nothing that he can't do on the basketball court. He can get to the hoop. He's a great passer, great with the ball. And to have a big in Connor on the floor with him, that is one of the best passing bigs I've ever coached. He's not a traditional back to the basket guy. He's a guy that we can bring out in the high post, and he just has great hands, and he's a really unselfish player. So having those 2 are two really big reasons for why I like it. The other thing is we had a really talented JV team come join us. They were 15-5 last year. 2 of Khorie's brothers are in the starting rotation as well, Isaac and Isaiah. And then, we've kind of rotated the other starting 5, but we have some depth too. Khorie's cousin, Z Johnson, is a transfer, and he's been doing great. Seniors that are coming back that got very limited minutes last year, but Jovan Barfield and Brandon Kraut, they've gotten some big minutes, as well as some other guys that have come off the bench. So we have some really good talent. We've got some depth. So there's a lot to like about them. And I like us in transition. I really like the speed of which we play. I really think that more than anything else is what helped us beat Menden is when we really sped up the game in the second half.
Khorie, you've got 2 brothers in the starting lineup with you. Obviously, you probably love all your teammates, but how special is it for you to have 2 little brothers lining up next to you at the jump ball circle and running the floor with you during games?
I love it because it reminds me of like when we were younger, and this is just building memories for the rest of our lives. So I love it.
Connor, Khorie is the oldest of the Reeves guys on the team. Is he the best, and what makes him so dynamic as a playmaker on the floor?
I mean, yeah, that's a tough question. He probably is the best right now, just because he's the oldest and probably the most developed of all of them, and he's just so versatile. It's hard. So that's what makes it best.
Hey, Connor, I want to build off what Coach said about you and your ability to be a good passer. That's not something that all comes easy to people. How did you develop that skill as a good passing big man?
Just playing with like the same group of guys and knowing like how they play, and always just looking to take the extra pass instead of looking like to just force a bad shot.
Khorie, I told you before we got going, I'm going to ask you who your favorite players are to watch in the NBA. I was hoping you were going to say the new version of Kyrie, which is Ja Morant. But are you a Kyrie Irving fan? Is he your guy?
A little bit. I'm more of like a Kevin Durant guy. I love Kevin Durant.
I'm down with that. How about you, Connor? Do you like a certain college or pro player you like watching play on TV?
I like to watch Anthony Edwards from Minnesota.
Well, let's hope he has a bad game tonight because he's playing the Celtics, okay? He's had a lot of really good games lately. Tonight, let's go for a bad game, all right? Go ahead, Steve.
Mike, you talked about, the team and the chemistry that brings it together, but what are some of the intangibles that make your team good? Because it's not just about being able to get out on the floor and run. What makes this group special together?
I got to give them a big compliment because our last game, and I know that they were shorthanded with Pittsburgh Tendon. They are such a hard team to prepare for because they're very well coached and they run great stuff and they've got a tradition. So if somebody's out, they just put another guy in, they still run it. And the boys were really locked in during the scouting report. We have our starting lineup is 2 sophomores and 3 juniors. And other than Khorie, no one really played starters minutes last year. So these guys are all new to varsity basketball. Even though Connor was probably our 7th man, I think he got maybe 8 minutes a game, something like that. I'd have to go back and look. But, not getting starters reps, so to speak. So when they are locked in, it's really fun to watch them learn. And at halftime, it was when we were talking about the adjustments we wanted to make, I saw a sea of nodding heads. It was really great, and all of a sudden we're starting to get the yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach, we understand. And the way they executed that game was really good because it's going to take some time. We had a really good game our first game, but then we really had a down game our second game. So I think their willingness to learn is the intangible that you're talking about, Steve, that I really like. They do seem like they're not fighting me on the scouting report. They seem to want to learn and want to get better. And I really appreciate about them.
Let's take a quick break, come back, talk more Greece Athena basketball. You mentioned last year, Coach. I want to take you guys back to last year. I want to see how much that loss, a tough one against Schrader, fueled you guys in the offseason. We're talking Greece Athena basketball right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.
Looking for a used truck? Can you find one out of 350? At BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com, you'll find one. Love SUVs? 800 are waiting for you to take one home at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com. Add 350 pre-owned sedans, and you've got a total of 1,500 used vehicles only at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
Bob Johnson's got you right. Bob Johnson.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
You don't choose to get hurt at work, but you can choose the workers' comp attorneys at Connors and Ferris to fight for your money and medical benefits you deserve.
With over 20 years of industry experience, we will give your case our undivided attention so that you and your family can focus on your recovery.
So call Connors and Ferris, the workers' comp attorneys dedicated to fighting for injured workers' rights.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
The best 3 things here at McQuaid are definitely the sports, the brotherhood, and the service to community. I think that's a really big, important thing that McQuaid stresses, which is part of creating a better and great man. You definitely feel a connection with your fellow students here. It's being all guy school. You're able to relate to each other on a personal level, and everyone's very welcoming here with open arms and willing to be your friend.
Hi, this is Jeff DiVeronica. I'd like to tell you about my friends from Doyle Security. We lost my father-in-law a few years ago, and that meant my mother-in-law was going to be alone in her house. One of my first calls was to Doyle. Doyle has an award-winning burglary detection system, and that gave her peace of mind again. It gave her comfort. These days, you can't put a price tag on that. Whether it's for your family or yourself, at any stage of your life, Doyle is there for you. For seniors, Doyle offers a personally enabled GPS emergency response system. They have a full array of smart systems, including fire and carbon monoxide detection, security cameras, and more for your home or business. More than 35,000 families and businesses rely on Doyle every day and every night. Family owned and operated for more than 100 years, you don't have that kind of staying power unless you're doing something right. To learn more, call 1-866-GO-DOYLE or visit godoyle.com.
Are you ready for a great visit? The first 500 students to visit Roberts Wesleyan University could receive a $100 Amazon gift card. Prospective students can check out Roberts with their families and participate in at least 3 activities. Learn how to apply, get admissions tips, and tour campus. Register at roberts.edu/visit.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
Protecting your home's worth pays off when you trust the experienced team at American Custom. We've all seen our homes go up in value, making home improvements a wise choice. If you think your home is worth a lot now, just wait until our team is done with it. Call American today.
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley having a good conversation with another terrific Class A school in Section 5 boys basketball program, Greece Athena. Legendary type names like Mr. Wallace, Mr. Lamb, Mr. McElwain, I said it right, J-Mac, and these guys too. We got a whole bunch of Reaves coming through the program right now. Khorie Reaves, junior, 6'4" junior guard, joining us now with Connor Osier, 6'5". And there's a third cap. Is there a third captain, right, Coach?
There's 2 more. Brandon Kraut is a captain, as is Javon.
Okay.
Those are 2 of our 3 returning seniors.
Okay, and as we record this, you guys are 3-1, heading to a game Friday night against Pittsford Sutherland. Last season, 13-8, lost. I believe it was a first-round game at Schrader, in a game that you were behind 46-40, and you came back. You took a 47-46 lead, with 23 seconds to go. And Coach is nodding. I'm sorry. And Alex DeRosa puts back in a shot at the horn. Connor, I'll start with you. How much did that fuel this group? Just going out so early in sectionals and the way you went out. That sit with you guys still?
Yeah, and then the first game we played them again, so it was a little bit of a revenge game. And it was, the whole game against Webster was kind of the same situation as sectionals. It was we were down, then we came back. Then it was last second, double OT game. So it fueled the whole team in the offseason. And we had them game 1.
Mike, I usually break the high school basketball season into three segments. There's pretty much the start until Christmas, New Year's, holiday time. Then you go January 1st till sectionals, and then the postseason is on its own. Where is this team strong right now? I know you talked a little bit about that, but what areas do you want to see this team to continue to grow as you build towards the second and third portions of the season?
Yeah, that's actually a great breakdown right there. The first thing I want to say is, given the fact that we're young, the fact that we're 3-1, I'm very happy about. The other thing is we kind of came into the season banged up. Connor sprained his ankle pretty bad in our last scrimmage. Didn't practice the whole week prior to our first game, and then we didn't think we were going to have him that weekend. And then he comes in and drops a double against Webster. So I think the fact that, because if we didn't have him, I don't think we're winning that first game. And then that weekend, the next day, we're in a shoot around and he is starting to get sick. And one of our other starters, Z, is starting to get sick. two guys didn't make the Menden game. So we've been battling some bug that's going through our team too. So again, I'm pretty excited that we're 3-1 at this point. So I think we're a little bit ahead. But as far as the growth goes, I think offensively, I want us to push the ball more. In our loss against Aquinas, and even in a couple of our wins, we settled for 3-point shots, and I don't think that that's necessarily our strength. You can't cover a kid like Khorie in the open court, and when he gets the ball to the hoop, he draws a lot of defenders, which is why the 3-point shot is open. But I'm trying to train our guys to catch and attack, catch and attack, catch and attack. We try to use the expression dribble downhill. Always have the defenders on their heels. And we did that against Menden. We attempted over 23s in our first 3 games and didn't shoot a high percentage. Against Menden, we shot 9 threes, and we won. And that was probably the best game that we've played. So I think, offensively, I don't want us to settle for threes. I want us to continually be pushing and pushing and pushing. Defensively, I think we're doing a pretty good job. The big thing is, and you brought up the Webster game, we lost that game on an offensive rebound. And that is something that I think has plagued our program recently, is we got to block out better. We're doing a really good job of switching perimeter screens. We're doing a really good job on ball screens. It's just limiting that opponent to second chance opportunities. We do not want to give them second chance opportunities, because if we get the rebound first and we're off to the races, we're a fast team. But if we give up an offensive rebound, that slows us way down and gives them an opportunity to score. So I would say offensively, don't settle, keep attacking. Defensively, limit them to 1 chance.
Coach Connor, Jeff mentioned tradition earlier, and some of the players that have come before you. What's it mean to put on this Athena uniform or go out and represent your school?
Coming up, watching Anthony Lamb play, and going to the Blue Cross Arena and seeing Athena being there, and Nigel and Christian and those guys, it's cool. And we haven't been there in a while, so this season we're just trying to continue the legacy that all those guys had.
Khorie, how about you? There's a lot of tradition just associated with, your last name, and I think, when you hear the name Reaves in Section 5 basketball, people immediately have expectations that you're going to be a player. What's it like for you to put on this uniform and represent?
Honestly, I love it because, there's a lot of my family members who went through the program and are going through the program currently. So I feel like go out there, play my best, and leave a legacy of my own,
And your uncle is James Reaves, the former Division I basketball player who starred at Edison Tech and has become such a good coach here locally too, just so people can make that connection. Khorie, let me ask you about being a quarterback on the floor. And you scored 22 against Aquinas, had 7 boards, 5 assists. You had 26 against Menden, 10 in the third quarter after you guys trailed. Have you learned, or how have you learned, when is it time to take over? Is that something you look to coach to say, Khorie, time to go? Or have you figured out when that is? It's a tough thing to learn, but tell me about learning how to do that.
Honestly, I think it just comes to me naturally. Sometimes I feel like when the game's close or we're having our little down moments, I feel like it's time for me to take over. And if it doesn't come naturally, my dad was on the sideline, and coaches telling me when I come out from halftime, Twomley against Menden, he told me, "All right, Khorie, let's go. It's time to go." So when someone puts that in my ear, I understand that it's time for me go out there and play basketball.
Yeah. Coach, you want to follow up on that? Have you seen some maturation in him?
In both these guys, actually, too. Yeah. So, Khorie was a starter last year, and, I would tell him, I'm like, hey, I know that it's a bunch of seniors and you in the starting lineup, but you can take over this game just as well as they can, And I think last year, Khorie was a little bit reluctant to have to do that, but there were games where he did take over. There were games where he was the best player on the floor. We had a conversation in the preseason, okay, now it's your team. It's last year. I get it. You had 4 seniors in the starting lineup. One of them's your cousin. the shot sharing, wasn't always equitable there, and he was a sophomore. This year, this is his team. And, we made him captain. He got the most votes, followed right behind him it was Connor. So these guys are well respected. And, Connor, did we meet the day after the season ended? I think you, me, and your dad, or maybe it was just me and your dad, but we started talking like the day after the season about you stepping up and being a leader and getting right into that as a junior, because we knew we were only going to have a couple of seniors back. So both of these guys have really grown in that capacity. And there's still growth ahead. I mean, it's funny, we just talked about it right after practice today, didn't we, boys? About leading by example and in some ways that we can do that. So I'm happy that they've both matured and they both have accepted this role of leadership. And the nice thing is we haven't hit our stride yet. We're 3-1, but we have a lot of room to grow. Both as far as character goes and leadership goes, but also ability. We pretty soon, I think we're going to be shooting at a much higher level, and I think we're going to be playing at a good pace. And I think that there's really room for improvement, which is, we could be really scary at the end of the year if we keep trending in the right direction.
Connor, I just want to build off what Coach said about taking on that larger leadership role. Sometimes it's intentional, and sometimes it comes with just the example that you set. Were you comfortable with hearing those words going into your junior year, and how has it been for you taking on that added responsibility?
Me and Khorie coming into our junior years, we're like tasked with taking on a leadership role, and both of us matured from our sophomore to junior years. And we came in and we throughout tryouts, we tried to set an example, and the other kids followed, and it's kind of been like that the whole season.
It was great hearing a coach just now put out some confidence in his team. I like that. Coach Setzer, usually it's always about, we're not that good. They sound like Jim Boeheim. We're not that good. Maybe we can put it together by the end of the year. But it was really cool. You have confidence in these guys. It's good to hear you telling these guys you're confident in them. They have a lot of room to grow. Guys, Khorie, that's got to be good to hear. Not only him talking about giving you the ball and saying it's your team now. That's got to be great to hear, Khorie.
It makes me feel like, they depend on me, and that strives me to go out there and play my best any chance I get. So, I really appreciate that.
Now, I asked you a question about knowing when to take over. There are times I watch John Moran play, and I'm not sure there are times when I don't think he knows when to take over. But when he wants to, he can. So, Steve, anything else for the Trojans? Looking forward to seeing them play Irondequoit. I think that would be a couple of. Is it 2 games or just 1 this year, Coach? With
so we could actually play them quite a few times. We're trying not to think about any other team besides who we got next, which is Sutherland. So we always have a rule in practice. We don't talk about any other teams except for the one in front of us. But since you asked, we're in the Hilton tournament with them, and now we're in the same division. So we will definitely have at least 2 games. It's possible we could see them in the Hilton tournament. And then, of course, we're all in the same section. So who knows, And the crazy thing is, I think we won a couple of years where we didn't play each other. They weren't in our league, and we didn't schedule games with each other, and we never ran into each other in sectionals. So I think for 2 or 3 years we didn't play. 2 years at least we didn't play each other, and then we did play each other once last year.
Well, they're 4-0, you're 3-1, and I got primetime saying that Irondequoit is the team to beat. So I'm trying to keep the bullseye off my guys at Irondequoit. So because then hearing you talk about your squad, I watch out for Athena. And if Mendon gets healthy, watch out. So could be real interesting. Coach Khorie and Connor, thanks for making time for us today. I know we're having some technical difficulties with Khorie, but Steve, we're going to wrap it up unless you got anything else pressing.
Well, if I can sign up to see Athena and Irondequoit play 4 times, I'll do that right now. But we just love the competition, and it's been a great conversation. We appreciate it, guys. Good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah. By the way, our division is extremely talented. If you look at all the teams in our division, everybody is good. So I think it's going to make for some really competitive basketball.
Well, who is it? Mendon? There changes every year. So who is it? Mendon, Athena, Irondequoit.
Mendon.
Who else?
Sutherland is with us. And, Brockport has got everybody back from their lineup last year. And then I think Arcadia is in our division too. So you look at like a lot of guys returning, the Pittsfords are returning a lot of their squad. Chris has got pretty much everybody back in Irondequoit. Brockport returns most of their squad too. So when you got all those guys coming back, that's going to make for some really competitive basketball.
Well, there's no senior starters for Athena, so I know who the team to beat next year will be. That's for sure. No matter what happens this year. Right there on the Trojans. And you'll accept that. All right. For Steve Bradley.
Yeah.
Good luck to you guys. Hope to see you soon. All right, guys, in person.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. For my co-host, Steve Bradley, and our producer, Joe Broad, I'm Jeff DiVeronica. Thanks for watching some Section 5 basketball right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.